I'm Dr. SCL. I'm a dad, a chiropractor, and the translator you didn't know you needed in this, the first year of parenting. This is Decoded, the first year, the podcast that turns baby brain confusion, mum burnout, and milestone panic into clarity you can actually use. Let's make sense of the chaos by decoding it together. Hey, welcome back to Decoded, the first year. I'm Dr. SCL, chiropractor, dad, and your translator for all things baby brain, body, and the chaos that can be in between. If you've got a baby under 6 months who hates the car seat, screams the second visitors arrive, crashes hard but only after hours of fighting sleep, or needs to be held, rocked, bounced, or driven just to settle, let me tell you, it's probably not bad habits. It's most likely a nervous system that is overstimulated and it's trying to tell you something. Today, I'm going to dive in to help you to understand what overstimulation really is, what it's not, and how you can support your baby without spiraling. Now, let's start with this. There are many on the internet talking about nervous system regulation, the vagus nerve and vagal tone, and the autonomic nervous system, fight, flight, and the stress response. And yes, these are all valid topics for discussion. However, there are no amount of breathing exercises, cold baths, and or meditations that are going to make long-term changes for your bub. Look, overstimulation is real, with all that said. It's not dramatic baby behavior. It's the nervous system saying, I've had too much input, I'm done, please slow it all down. Your baby's system is learning how to process the world, but it's still incredibly immature, especially in those first 6 months. Everything from loud sounds, bright lights, strong smells, multiple faces, too much movement, it all adds up. And here's the key. An overstimulated baby isn't just fussy, they're dysregulated, and no amount of routines or white noise machines will work if their system is stuck in alert mode. So let's decode what this actually looks like in the real world and by using the things that I hear in the clinic every day. Statements like, my baby will only sleep on me. They can't seem to switch off, even when they're clearly exhausted. They absolutely lose it after being passed around at a family lunch. And they cry in the car, the shops, on the floor, but they're fine once they're in my arms. These are babies whose systems are on high alert. They don't feel safe or comfortable on the inside, even when everything looks fine on the outside. And if no one explains this to you, it's easy to think that you're doing something wrong. And please listen to this. You're not. So why does this happen? In many babies, overstimulation shows up because their nervous system hasn't fully settled since birth. It might be from a very fast delivery, a long labour, various medical interventions, or even the most perfect birth stories that have still involved tension that will be seen in the baby at their neck, their spine, the cranial nerves, even their shoulder. That tension can then create discomfort, which makes stillness feel unsafe. So the baby craves movement, especially things like bouncing or rocking. They find feeding constantly to be incredibly soothing, not just because they're spoiled, but because motion calms the chaos, albeit temporarily. But as you know, that's not a long-term fix. It's just a compensation. And unless we address the underlying system, we're going to end up with babies who rely on constant input to feel calm. And as a result, parents who feel like they can never put them down. So when I'm assessing a baby, when I'm suspecting signs of overstimulation or nervous system stress, I'm not just looking at their behavior. I'm checking to see if there's tension in their little spine, particularly the upper neck and shoulders. I'm going to be testing certain primitive reflexes, especially ones like the Moro reflex. I'm going to look for asymmetry of movement, such as always turning in one way, one hand dominating the other side. I'm going to look for difficulty and their posture when they're just laying there. Are they in a bit of a C shape, bent like a banana? And fundamentally, I'm going to put my chiropractic hat on and look for signs of spinal misalignment that might be causing discomfort when the child is on a flat surface or unsupported. It's then with the gentle, specific Gonstead checks, I can help calm the system from the inside out, not by forcing sleep or behavior, but by removing stress that's blocking regulation, by removing the interference to the little nerve system being calm. If your baby needs motion to settle, cries the second they hit the floor, or simply can't cope with anything but constant contact, they're not just too clingy, they're overstimulated, and their nervous system is asking for help. You are not failing. You're just parenting a baby whose system is doing the best it can with too much input. The good news, we can support that system. We can reduce the stress. And when we do, babies settle. And so do their parents. If this episode helped you decode what's really going on with your baby, please share it with a parent who's deep in the why won't they settle phase. And if you want support figuring out what's showing up in your baby's nervous system, you know where to find me on the socials at Mount Hawthorn Chiropractic. This is Decoded, the first year. Dr. SCL, out. Thanks for listening to Decoded, the first year, where we translate the mess of early parenting into something that actually makes sense. Be sure to share this episode with a friend, a partner, or a mum that you know who is quietly struggling through the noise and secretly Googling every milestone. If you want to hear more decoding, follow at Mount Hawthorn Chiropractic on the socials. Let's keep decoding the chaos. No mansplaining, no pressure, no judgment, just clarity when you need it most. Please note, this podcast isn't medical advice. It's just smart strategies from a Gonstead chiropractor, a dad, and someone who's been in the room with hundreds of mums trying to make sense of their baby's development, their own postpartum recovery, and the constant noise that comes with modern parenting. Always chat with your health team for specific care.